Hello everybody, welcome back to another mini review, which you might not actually be familiar with if you've never seen one of these on the main channel. It's been a good long while since I've done a mini review compilation video. I'd always just assumed that another one would be released on the main channel at some point in the future. It normally takes me ages. But it's been well over a year since the last one, and keeping hold of scripts and footage for months on end is also kind of annoying, and I have a second channel now. So I figured it might as well be used for those occasional games that I want to say something about, but I have neither the time, patience, or enthusiasm for to make a full-blown 20+ minute video on the main channel. These are very much going to be rough around the edges, free-flowing train of thought types videos, not super revised or highly edited and that kind of thing. And sadly, releasing a 5-minute video on the main channel is effectively algorithm suicide. Don't you just love a system on a platform that's centered entirely around creativity that also penalizes you for wanting to be creative in your own way? Ha ha ha! Anyway, one of the things that often trips me up when scripting is when I'm writing about a game that I legitimately want to talk about, but I also didn't like very much. It's really frustrating because I want to write about it, but I also don't feel any enthusiasm in the script, nor do I really want to spend what can be up to hundreds of hours working on a 20-minute video talking about a game that I didn't like. It kind of feels like a big waste of time, which brings us not so neatly along to Greyhill Incident. A game that heavily promotes itself as a survival horror with clear influences from the likes of the movie Signs. Two things that I really love. For those unaware, Greyhill Incident released in June earlier this year, with the premise of that being a 1990s American small town being invaded by your classic B-movie UFO aliens. Which honestly sounds like a really awesome idea for a survival horror game. And it's also why it now pains me to say the following. This game is fucking terrible. I can't believe how bad this game is. Do not be fooled by the marketing. This is not a survival horror game. Greyhill Incident is nothing more than an overglorified walking simulator. And I might sometimes give walking simulators a pass, but not this one, okay? True, this game looks pretty, it has some really nice atmosphere at times, which is arguably the best thing about it. The visuals are okay, especially all the UFO stuff, but the gameplay is so stiff, so clunky, and so restrictive, it's endlessly herding you where it wants you to go. There is zero room in this game for player experimentation, or even a modicum of personality. It's just a painfully average walking simulator that wants you to think that it's a lot more than that. The stealth mechanics, for example, just flat out don't work. You basically can't hide from the aliens unless you happen to be in a building and they happen to be outside. The combat in this game is also really depressingly bad. The aliens are these little rigid stick men that just follow you around at this one single pace. You twat them over the head a couple of times with a baseball bat or shoot them twice and hide, and that's it, that's the combat. And it is hilarious how bad the AI is in this game. Greyhill Incident also has a very nasty habit of breaking on occasion. There was a time that I loaded in and the aliens just didn't spawn. There was also another time that a character who had been explained to have set off on a plane was still in the house where you had found him previously. He's just sitting there in his little crab position as if you're the arsehole for finding him when it's the game's fault for breaking and not despawning this guy. This is not good programming, Greyhill Incident, do not blame this on me. And this isn't even taking into consideration the game's story and voice acting, which... oh boy, it's not very good. Don't get me wrong, the voice actor for the main character, he really sounds like he's trying, but a lot of it ends up coming across as really bad overacting, and that's probably due to the script not being very good.
That is it! Let them take me!
Case in point, the game itself is also super short and cuts off right when you think it's about to get into what you would think would be a really interesting section of the story. It's honestly strange how the game ends so abruptly. It kind of makes you think that someone just pulled the plug on the project and then tacked on an ending. In fact, now sitting here, I am completely convinced that is what happened. So with that in mind, I'm not going to recommend this to you. Do not buy this game. Unless you pick it up super cheap, this game is not worth your time or money. On average, this game goes for £20. There are many other things you can spend £20 on that are worth your money, but this game, unfortunately, is not it. I'm not hating for the sake of hating. A survival horror game set during a 1990s alien invasion should have been an absolute goldmine of an opportunity for a modern horror game. I loved the idea of this, but my god was it squandered. It's bad, and that's all I have left to say. I'll see you next time.